Okay, well, let's get started. Well, my name is Trisha Thomas. I'm a partner here at Fourlane, and this week we're going to talk about the use of sales orders when it comes to inventory management. Also, we heard our clients talk about the frustration they have when they've got some technical issues with QuickBooks and wanting some help, wanting Fourlane to be there for them. So we created an on-demand support. It's really easy, affordable support plan. So pricing starts at $25 per QuickBooks user per month, and that's for up to 5 users. It then drops to $20 per month for 6 users or more. And you can see there's lots of things that we can help you with. If you've got troubleshooting with software issues, you've got some error codes that you don't know what they are, maybe you've got a rebuild bill and need some help on that. These are the type of technical supports that we can help you with this plan. So how it works, once we get you signed up, anytime you've got a technical issue, all you have to do is email our help desk. In that email, we want you to include what's going on, what the urgency level is, and of course, what's the best contact time would work for you. What you can expect from us is a return email within the hour to set up that meeting time. So our QuickBooks support team is available from Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Central Time. And we also offer Slack chat support upon request. So if you guys want some more information, please reach out and we'll get you signed up for that. I want to share a few things about Fourlane, what makes us unique. So we are the largest QuickBooks Enterprise service team, and we're the #1 Intuit partner and have been since 2010. We are proud to have 8 of the top pro advisors on our team. So our team member is one of the only firms that can support and implement not only QuickBooks, but other ERP systems such as NetSuite, Xero, and Acumatica. Our team is made up of experts in not only QuickBooks, so that we know and understand the accounting, but we also know the systems. So sometimes we see other firms that they either only know the IT side of things or they're accounting focused, but at Fourlane, we understand both sides, so we can help implement your new software and help you create good accounting processes. And then finally, we work with our clients to empower their teams with new and consistent processes to provide both time and energy savings and help them come to those data-driven decisions to help build their businesses. Okay, let's talk about today's topic. So during last week's webinar, I was asked about using the new prepayment featured with invoices instead of sales orders. It got me thinking about wanting to share with you why I recommended that we start from a sales order instead of an invoice. And so, of course, that leads me to today's topic of using sales order as our starting point to have the available reporting opportunities that are in QuickBooks Enterprise for managing our inventory. So first, I'm going to go over and talk to you guys why I recommended starting with the sales order for that inventory management. We're going to walk through inventory setup options, again, focused on getting more out of our data, more reporting opportunities by setting up those different fields that we need. I'm going to walk you through the actual creation of a sales process from the sales order. And of course, we're going to look at reporting throughout. Okay, so let me open up my sample file and let's get started. Okay, I created a widget. I want to start talking about item setup. Okay, so looking at our item list. So all items are found under list and item list. And of course, we can talk about our inventory center. We're going to go over that section in a moment. But I want to talk about the item setup, kind of how this is our starting point. I created an item called a widget. I set it up as an inventory type. This tells my QuickBooks accounting file that I'm going to track a quantity and asset value for this item on my balance sheet. I, of course, enter the name and the description on both purchases and the sales side. If you have a different manufacturer's part number, you can enter that here. And of course, that new feature for categories on how to group our items is also something that we can start using and recommend. So that way you've got those more reporting opportunities. We want to set up what our cost and what our sales price is going to be for this item. And then of course, our GL information. So the income side, when we use this transaction in a customer invoice, what income account is affected by the transaction. And then on our purchasing and selling side, our inventory asset and our cost of goods sold when we purchase and sell this item. Okay, so if we order this item from a certain vendor, we can set up what's called a preferred vendor. And that way, when we use the feature for creating an auto purchase order, it will actually pre-populate that vendor name for you. So the field that I want to focus on today is the reorder point. So this field tells the system I want to keep a minimum, for example, for my widget, 100. This is what I want to keep in my warehouse to make sure that I can fulfill my customer invoices. Okay, so that item setup is a very important step to be able to drive how we're going to use this item, the reporting opportunities that we have. So we want to make sure that we fill out everything that you possibly can for that item so that you have those reports available. Okay, I'm going to come back here to my home screen. If we're taking a customer's order to fulfill at a later date, but we require prepayment, you can invoice a customer for just the prepayment. So I'm going to show we can create an invoice. We can create a line item called customer prepayment, and we can invoice a customer for that. The problem with that is that if you want to have a workflow that links the customer prepayment to that order, doing this process of just invoicing for the prepayment, there will not be that link between the order. Okay, so if we use the sales order and we create our customer's order and then we receive a prepayment, now this is going to link the prepayments from the start of the customer's invoice all the way from when we take the customer's order, we fulfill the order, and we invoice the customer. That prepayment is going to be linked to everything. So that's why one of the reasons that I recommend using the prepayment feature at sales order. But the second piece of it is the sales order is where we talk about managing our inventory levels, which is what we want to talk about and focus on for this one. So if your accounting file includes inventory management, we always recommend that even if we start from an estimate or a quote, that we always convert it to the sales order. The reason is because QuickBooks uses the sales order only for the inventory reporting when it comes to availability, which is what is important for managing what we need to order and or keep on hand to be able to fulfill our customers' orders. So I'm going to walk through and just show you how easy it is to convert an estimate to a sales order. So we're going to start at our estimate. We're going to select the customer job. Of course, if you're using classes, we want to get all of this information filled out, customize our template. We're going to choose an item. Okay, we're going to choose a quantity. I can add any customization words I want, so we can say this is a custom order completed by end of week. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save this. So remember that estimates, sales orders, and purchase orders are non-posting transactions in your accounting file. That means there's no financial impact when we save this. Think of this as just a contract between you and your customer, you and your vendor on what you are ordering, what they want to order from you. Okay, so now I'm going to just choose the create sales order You're going to see this is all I have to do is select the one button. It says it's going to copy everything over to that sales order. I didn't have to do anything else. It brought everything over, including the custom words that I entered. This is where we would say, once we save this, this is where we're going to start that inventory management of fulfilling our orders. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. So we never want to invoice our customers for items that we don't have in our warehouse. QuickBooks is very user-friendly. The problem with that is that sometimes that can get us in trouble, especially when it comes to inventory, because even though QuickBooks will allow us to create negative inventory quantities, it doesn't mean that you should. This is not a good practice inside your accounting file. And again, it's kind of just that snowball down. If I invoice a customer for items that I don't have, we're now going to have to deal with, now I need to go order those. Now you take the chance of when we receive them and we ship those out, are we going to duplicate the invoicing side? We've got the issue of our accounting file having the negative inventory because we've invoiced on the front side. So what we want to do is keep it at sales order level. The sales order keeps the hold of what our customer is ordering until we fulfill that order. Until we go to our vendor, we order what we need, we receive the items, and then we can invoice the customer. So before we go through that, I want to kind of talk about, I kind of touched on this inventory center. So the inventory center is where a lot of inventory managers kind of live. This kind of gives them all the information about their items. So I want to use this indoor electrical wire as an example. So the sales order allows you to create a customer order as a placeholder on inventory. So you know what needs to be fulfilled, and it's reflected in your available quantity count. So it's very important. I said quantity count. Available is different than quantity on hand. So inside of QuickBooks, you have a current quantity on hand, and then you have quantity available. These two things can and will be different if you have orders to fulfill. So let's look at this item, and I'm going to show you. You can see here we have a quantity on hand of 500, okay? But below that, you see a quantity of sales order of 50. So we have a placeholder of 50. So if we come on down here, we see our quantity available is 450. This is very important. This is telling our sales team, this is the quantity that you have available to sell, not the 500 that's in our warehouse. So those two things are very important. And again, it's driven from the sales order. The sales order is what uses what is the placeholder on inventory that you have to fulfill. Okay, let's go back, and I want to go through a sales order workflow. We'll use my widget item, and we're going to go through the scenario so I can show you guys. So I'm going to create a sales order. I created myself as a customer. I'm going to choose my widget item. And I'm going to use a scenario that I have a customer that wants to order 5 widgets. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose 5. Okay, now notice when I created that estimate, nothing popped up about a quantity on hand, but it did at sales order. And so what this is telling me is I only have 3 available for my quantity on hand. I don't have any others for sales orders. So what it is saying is I can only fulfill 3. So again, our goal is to not have negative inventory in our file. So we have 2 options. We can invoice for the 3 that we have available and then leave 2 on back order on our sales order, or we can wait until we have all of them in stock and invoice at once. But the most important thing is we want to save this sales order because now we're putting a placeholder on our 5 widgets. Okay, I want to show you this really great graph. So in my order column, I have a graph, and this graph tells me about this item. So you can see my item name is a widget, and then it looks just like it did in the inventory center. But what's good about this is a salesperson might not have access to that inventory center, but they should be able to see what they have available to sell at their sales order level. So we have quantity on hand, 3, quantity on our sales order was 5, or quantity available is -2. So this tells us to fulfill this order, we need to create a purchase order for at least 2 of those widgets. Over here, this shows you incoming is if we have ordered any of these widgets and we have any outstanding on our purchase order, it will show you the details over here. So details was if there was a purchase order, it's going to give you the details of the date, the expected date, who we ordered it from, so you can see a little bit more information on if we've got some coming in that we could fulfill this order. Okay, so since we need to order more product, we would recommend from here that we use our purchase order function so that we can go and reorder what we need to fulfill this order. From here, it will take us directly to that purchase order. It'll link this customer order to it so that when we receive them, we can see who needs widgets. In this case, it would be our Trisha Thomas customer. Okay. So there's another report that I always show my inventory team when I'm training with them. I really love this report. It's called our inventory stock status. So let's go check that report out, and I can show you some more how that sales order feature works. So under reports, under inventory, and it's called inventory stock status by item. Okay. Now what this report it's showing us is as of this date range, it's giving us all of our items. If we use the category feature, it would show us that grouping. Now this is where it comes into play, what I told you on the front end, our item setup and why this is so important. So we have our column for our preferred vendor. So this tells the system who we prefer to order from. Here's those reorder points. So here it is on my widget. I said I want to keep 100 in my warehouse. Now our next columns are being built from not only our warehouse, but what we have transaction-wise in our file. So on hand would represent what we would expect is in our warehouse. The sales orders, of course, are going to be the transactions we've created in our accounting file. We have not fulfilled. So meaning we have not invoiced our customers for. If we're using assemblies, the same thing, pending assemblies that we haven't completed. And then that gets us to our available. So it's taking what's on hand, less sales orders, less assembly, and it's building, here's what you have available to sell. Okay, now based on that, you can see this column that's called order. What this is letting the system do the work for us. So based on what our reorder point is, what we have available, it's going to tell you if the accounting file is recommending you reorder. So in the case of the widget, it is recommending that we order 103. And where that's being driven from is we say we want to keep a minimum of 100 in our warehouse. We have -2 available because we need to fulfill that sales order. So it's going to take that into account. So that's going to give us 101 left in our warehouse. So getting us above that minimum reorder point. Okay, so very powerful report for when it comes to managing that inventory. But again, to be able to have it successful and your inventory team to know when they need to reorder, we have to use the sales order function. Okay, these next two, we've got how often we use these in sales. So that will help say, hey, we don't use these that often. Maybe I don't need to reorder. Maybe I just want to order the 2 to fulfill an order because we don't use them regularly. It's a special order. Okay, so the next step from that, this is one of my favorite steps, is we can create auto purchase orders. So it's going to take the information from this report and it's going to create those purchase orders for us. So I'm going to select that button. And what it did is it brought up every single item that it had a checkbox. So here's my widget. It brought up those preferred vendors that we had entered in our accounting file at that item setup level. And then now it's telling you what it's recommending ordering based on what you said your reorder point is. We own if we want these to auto create. Right now, there's nothing being posted, nothing has saved. So I can come in here and I can choose which ones I want to generate a purchase order. And I can change the quantity based on that sales report of how many do I really want to reorder. Okay, so you still own the final approval of do I want a purchase order to be created and sent to my vendor, and how many do I want to be ordered. Okay, so we can create that purchase order from here. Okay, so a couple other reports I'll kind of just show you guys where we're talking about some inventory management. We've got our open sales order report. So coming on here and seeing at high level all of our sales orders. We've got that under report sales, and you can see by customer or by item. It kind of show you the same information, it's just how it's listed. So if we choose by customer, what it's going to show us is every sales order under each of our customers and the amount, what has been fulfilled and what hasn't. You can see that this one, for example, started from an estimate. So you see how it's linked. If we started from the estimate, it's still linked to our sales order. We've got that great. We can look back to see what happened, all of the links together. Okay. You can see here we had a partial shipment. We fulfilled some of the items on this order. We'll look at the same way, and let's look at it at item. So now this one, the only different change is your header is the actual items, and then listed under the items are the actual sales orders. So again, same information, but you can see this one is more of an inventory management side where it's giving you the item, the quantity, the back ordered piece. So that way you can kind of see at inventory management what is left to be fulfilled per order. Okay. So a couple of other reports. I know we're not doing a lot of inventory management, but I just want to show you guys where we're here. Under inventory, you have your inventory valuation summary. What this is showing you is, again, what your current, as of this date, what you have on hand. So again, this is taking my on hand. So I want to show you guys the difference. Remember, we said when it comes to the selling side, we want to focus on available quantity, not on hand, because this report doesn't tell us what orders have that placeholder, what items have we created sales order for. But at financial level, you can see as of this date, this is what my quantity and value is on hand for our inventory asset value. Okay. Kind of last report I'll show you guys under reports. We also have, if you wanted to see the purchasing side, so we can see what our open purchase order, and we can do it by customer. So we can see under Colt Homes, we have 2 purchase orders, and this is what I was talking about when we were at our sales orders, that we can create a purchase order, say link this purchase order to my customer's order, so that now we can see it brought up automatically, auto-populated my preferred vendor. It brought over those items, it brought over the 5, and it's linked to my customer, Thomas. The same thing, this is at report level, all the open purchase orders that are linked to a customer job or customer project, you can see that. So that way you know what is left, what we're expecting to be received into our inventory warehouse when this product comes in. Okay, So I hope I shared with you a lot of knowledge on why I always recommend the sales order side of things when it comes to inventory management. I'm going to turn it over, take a look to see if we have any questions before I let you guys get back to your day today. So on the question side of things, we have one question. Let's see if I can bring it up. So it says, what happens if you have one item with a quantity of 10 on a sales order to invoice, but 5 were bought at one price to resell, and the other 5 were bought at another price to resell? Where do you look for the internal pricing on sales order invoicing? Okay, so that talks about your cost side of things, if I understood, because you want to know that you bought it at different prices. So inside of QuickBooks, when it comes to setting up your company file, under Edit and under Preferences, and under your company settings, and under inventory, you have the option to choose what your costing is set up as. So default that QuickBooks uses is average cost, and I'm going to show you that on our report. But under our advanced inventory settings, you have an option if you want to use the first in, first out. And so the two, basically, of course, first in is, if I buy, 3 widgets at $5, and I 2 days later buy 5 widgets at $10, when I go to sell, it's going to use the 3 that I purchased first and their cost as my cost of goods sold allocation. On average cost, if we look at inventory setup, for example, I don't think I've done anything with my widgets, so we'll do the other one. You can see here that you've got an average cost. And so average cost is where QuickBooks is taking all the different times that you purchase this item, and it's taking the quantity and it's averaging out what that cost was. So sometimes average cost can be different than what our item cost setup if we've had, where we buy it at different, maybe we got a discount because we ordered more. So our average cost can be different. The average cost is what drives our asset value. When you look at it here, it's using the average cost to determine that asset value. Now, if you have FIFO turned on in your file, you have some other reporting under your inventory. You have where you can see the aged inventory, so you can see what those dollars are. But when you want to look at details on the movement, you can do this in a couple of ways. So your inventory valuation detail kind of gives you your ins and outs, so we can see invoices and bills, and we can see the ins and outs of our cost. So see here, here's our invoice, here was that costing side. Or you could, at your balance, at your profit and loss, look at your COGS account for your different materials, and you can drill into those. So I can drill into my breakdown, and I'm just going to choose it all, and I can see what my bills are, and then if I had invoices, it would show that cost, and you could see the movement there so that you can see what your cost was. You can also at every invoice drill into and see that back-end database. So if I go to a specific invoice and I want to see what it was that my cost was, I can actually do reports, and I can see the transaction journal, and I can see my debits and credits of what that cost was per that invoice. Okay, I hope that answered your question. I think I saw one more question. Oh, I cannot see it. It's something inventory manager. I can't get my questions to go big. Let me see, one more. Okay. You can't find the title on YouTube. So I will tell you, we upload these every week. So this one won't be uploaded until next week. And it should be titled exactly what the title of the webinar was. So if you ever can't find anything, please reach out to us and we can help you on that. And then Yolanda, you're welcome. I enjoy sharing with you guys inventory every week. So thank you so much for spending your time with me. I know we're right at time, so if you have any more questions, please reach out. I'll be glad to help you guys get your inventory workflow set up. That's what we're here for. We want to give you guys the data to make good decisions in your accounting file. So thank you so much for your time. Have a good rest of your day, and we will chat next week.